Hi, my name is Gil Robertson, president of the African American Film Critics Association. Today, they're back. Yes, the two dynamic sisters from the very popular Apple TV Plus series, The Morning Show. The extra bonus that we have today is that they're joined by the equally talented director, Millicent Shelton. So we welcome Nicole Beharie, Karen Pittman, and Millicent Shelton to the AAFCA Roundtables. We're going to kick things off by introducing you to the AAFCA members on the call today, starting with Penny Malloy Harper in New York, Evan Jackson in Los Angeles, Derek Dunn in Washington, D.C., Nancy Green in L.A., Karan Noah Kelly in Charlottesville, Virginia, Dana Abercrombie in New York, and Jill Monroe in L.A. I'm going to let you guys do what you do so well, and I'll see you on the other side.
You look different.
Yeah, well, that would be the murderous rage.
I think it's the hair.
Can we talk?
I don't know. Can we? Or is my childbearing womb going to come between us?
Yeah, that was out of line. I'm sorry. But I just heard Bro's show, and I'm guessing no one has your back in the building.
And you do?
I've seen what you can do, Chris. I know what you deserve. I can help you get it.
Take a ride with me. Smile for the cameras.
Hey, this is Evan Jackson from Young, Bold, and Regal. One of the standout episodes is episode 5, of course, but I also wanted to ask Nicole and Karen. One of the lines in the film said, in the episode said, "Not so quite Black excellent Barbie." With your individual characters, how do they live up to Black excellence, but in their own way kind of fall short too?
That's a heavy first question.
I know. I said Evan came in swinging. I mean, I guess I'll jump in. Thank you for that question, and thank you for having us today. Like again, speaking with us, and all the love that we've received from just the entire season. I feel like for Chris, she's excellence because she's an Olympian, because she is branded, she is a spokesperson. She always has the right thing to say. She's got the quips, the personality, and charisma. But obviously, as we found out in this season, she has the secrets, and she's really trying to figure out the work-life balance bit. Now, Nicole personally doesn't love the idea that we have to have like a Black excellence necessarily, that we always have to do a little bit more and be, like a little bit sharper to be in spaces, and people don't necessarily count all of the microaggressions and all of the things that we sort of weather in order to be at the same level as other people. So that's something that like I think about a lot whenever I think about Black excellence. I'm like, oh man, it's like an extra burden and an extra category that I don't necessarily love, but yeah, that's my answer.
I'm going to agree with Nicole on that idea of Black excellence, and also share in that space that idea of representation, what that means, and really the challenge that I think Mia Jordan has to deal with, and also Chris Hunter has to deal with, representing what people consider to be, what a Black woman is or what she should be, or what, a Black athlete is or what she should be. And I think, when the morning show is at its best, it's allowing us to break down that character into smaller parts, to share what it looks like on the inside, an emotional take on it. It allows us to, explore the fragility of a Black woman in a way that maybe our audience might not know about, but also informs the story. I think one of the things that Charlotte, our showrunner, does so well is um, she helps us understand the character of these women in a very unique way, their vulnerability, and then also has them sharing that space with each other. She does it really beautifully with Alex and Bradley, and I think she does it really beautifully with Mia and Chris, and also with Stella and Mia. And so I think it's this really beautiful back and forth of what it means to be excellent as a woman, but also what it means to be fragile and vulnerable.
Mhm.
Thank you. And I agree. The excellency in both of your characters is commanding the moment, writing your own narrative. And I love that with the direction of the writing. So thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Penny. I'm from Pembroke TV. And Millicent, I wanted to ask you about the directing of this episode, which was just amazing. Is there anything that you've done differently in this particular episode as far as like rehearsal time or giving extra boost to the characters? But there was something special about this episode.
Well, when I read it, it was wonderfully written, and there was so much heart, and there was so much truth, especially about the dilemma of being a Black woman, a successful Black woman in the business industry, you know. And so for me, it was making sure that that emotion and the truth and the authenticity of the experience of what it's like to be a Black woman in America came through, and to really nurture that. And in the case of Nicole, had a huge scene at the end, and it has a big turn in the middle of it. So we spoke early on. I don't even know if you remember this, Nicole. We spoke really early on about dividing that scene into two pieces, so that she could deal with the first half, which was deny, deny, deny. I am Black excellence, Barbie. I would never do anything like this. And then we overlapped when the paper was pushed across to her. And that's when the second day it was, this is my truth, this is my truth, this is my truth. And so I just wanted to make sure that when I read it, it was such an important performance. It was, and I felt in my heart that we had to do justice to it. And it was going to be too much to try to do it all in one day.
How's it going? Derek Dunn, reviews and done. My question was for Nicole. So viewing this episode as a male, I kind of identified with myself. But for young Black women who are going out in the business world, graduating college this year, what's one thing you hope they take away from this episode with your arc overall?
Oh, wow.
You're getting heavy questions
I
today.
know. Well, it's the latest episode, right? Young Black women who are coming out of college, or just really anybody who's navigating being in and out of new spaces or in a season of transition or elevating. I think the thing to maybe take away from the writing and from this episode and from, I guess, what it felt like uh, embodying it was that there's this is I don't know why this is coming to me. It's a little superficial, but there's this like Coco Chanel quote that I saw recently that was like, true beauty is like when you embrace yourself, when you just really
Yep.
like embrace your own face. And I feel like Chris was cornered in order to do as much, to like face what she had sacrificed and face the secrets that she was withholding from herself, her partner, her manager, her husband, everyone in her life, and the weight that that requires. And I think
Mhm.
feel like we have to be so perfect, which goes back to that sort of like Black excellence question, that we can have scars and we can have seasons that were harder and we can make mistakes and still
Mhm.
be completely worthy, um, and move forward and be a leader and own the space. And I think that that's what she discovered. And so, yeah, I would want to impart that, I suppose. And then also maybe not keep those secrets forever. Try to find community that you can talk to
Mhm.
if things happen to you, whether it's therapy or I've received a lot of mail and messages, and I'm so grateful. For all the men and women actually who've come and said they've experienced loss or they've had moments in life where they didn't feel like they were worthy because something about them changed. Um, and that thing didn't align with their identity with themselves. And so, yeah, just giving yourself permission to move forward in that and claim the things that you want out of your life. But thank you for that question, and it's definitely a major ride to take as an actor.
There's also something interesting that Mia and Chris talk about in the car on the way to that, on the way before that big interview that she does with Bro. She says, people don't stop loving you because you mess up, not if you own it. And I think that that's really important. When can we get to the point where Black excellence means owning your own truth, owning who you are as a human being? And I think that Nicole did a beautiful portrayal of a human being trying to sort through that. I also feel like the writers gave her this incredible moment to sort of explore that. And I thought that Millicent did a beautiful job of showing the juxtaposition of what that feels like for her in this moment beforehand, where she's denying, and then facing that truth in the midst of a hostile and an adversarial situation climate.
But what Karen fails to say is that she did an excellent job portraying a very similar yet different journey for Mia. So what happens with Chris is that she gives up the secret and people love her for revealing who she truly is. But Mia's journey is also one of discovering who am I really and supporting myself, supporting who she is as an individual and standing strong on that. So it's still a journey of, really being supportive of oneself and coming forward with your truth and standing on your ground and letting people see who you are and let the chips fall where they may. But you as a Black woman, you are fallible, you have fears, and you have aspirations. And your best, and you're really the best advocate for yourself is yourself, and stand on your truth and stay strong and keep your chin up and move forward. And that was the journey of both of these characters in different ways, but that's their journey.
Hello, hello, Karan Lenoir Kelly from Karanism.com and Love Music Pleasure. And I'm just going to piggyback on what Millicent just shared because the women chose themselves under very different kinds of attacks. So when I look at Mia, I see myself, of course, as a producer that was in television for a while. She had to defend her own autonomy when it came to people trying to slide in the back and derail her. But Nicole's assault was digital. They're both facing the same similar challenges, but one is in the back room and one of them is out loud. When have either of you had to manage navigating your own power in one of those situations?
Well, I think it's hard for a Black woman all over the world, do you know what I mean? But also in Hollywood. So, I think what's really you're going to navigate these difficult situations, period, right? I think what's really important and what we see very clearly in the episode is what does it mean to stick to your own personal truth? Again, integrity, you know, amidst all of the hostile winds. What does it mean to still um, stay connected to who you are and not step out of yourself in a way that doesn't reflect, your best. And I think that's what Mia attempted to do in episode 5. And personally, that's what I try to do. It's not um, a matter of it's not a political question. It's a moral dilemma. Do you know, in the face of challenges, who are you really? Do you know? And um, I'm happy to be able to have these conversations on the morning show to really kind of piece through and sort through what that looks like as a human being, but also as an actor, and to play those things out and take those lessons from me and bring them into my own life. So, yeah, I don't know if that.
Yeah, I love that what Karen just said about taking the lessons and placing it in our own life. It's like you can't navigate these storylines and not question things about yourself, and reflect on how you're moving and also how the world is moving around you and how it reacts to your presence or your ambition. Um, I think I don't know. I think the biggest thing in that question for me is learning how not to be the cartoon version that people want of us, whether that's the hypervigilance that people, expect, or that's the sort of everything is all good. I wear the smile, I wear the mask, everything rolls off. That we are fully human, and I love the show for the writing. I love the show for the. I feel like the 2 seasons that I've been a part of, I've had the experience of some really brave storytelling of like leaning into things that I think you're not really seeing for Black women, especially in a white space, that we're actually leaning into those things. So I think that we're talking about what that navigation looks like. And for me, one of the huge lessons I've learned while I'm navigating Hollywood, my work life, is working with people who are like-minded, that actually do see or want to have the conversations about what it means to be artists and humans and women navigating all these spaces. And to have a director like Millicent who really cares about every moment. We had some moments where there was like a makeout scene, or Chris was a little drunk, or there were so many different moments that could have been I think heavy-handed, maybe over the top in the wrong hands, or people who don't fully see the complexity and the dimension of sisters, could have made it a cartoon. And that means a lot, because you never know sometimes. And I felt like my hand was held, and any questions I had, they were really respected and explained, and that doesn't always happen, and you get used to that. You sort of build I don't want to say a little calluses, you sort of, that can happen after a while. So it's nice when you're like, actually, I can take that off and I can work differently because I'm in the presence of people who want the same thing, So, yeah.
Well, that is the nicest compliment I've ever
Get out of
received.
here. I've
And I'm
already
not
told
gonna
you
say
that.
anything else because I'm gonna cry. But thank you.
One of the most subtle things about the performances this season, especially in these women finding their own power, is the subtleties in the body language. Because once your characters made peace with their decision and their purpose, even the posture changed in their bodies and the way they walk through the hall. I was yelling at the TV like, baby. But thank you so much. This is an amazing season. It's so rich. Thank you.
That's a perfect,
And I,
that's exactly what we want. We want people screaming at the television. There are so many TikToks of people screaming at the television in the morning show, episode 5. And a lot of that is due to the writing, but a lot of that is due to, again, Millicent's great care that she took in showing us what these
oh,
women look like, what they it did. It was what they look like when they're joyful and they're happy. And Melissa and I went, I know that she fought to make sure that we would see these Black women in their authentic self in
well,
episode 5,
yeah,
not just with their husband and showing love, but also with their best friend dancing down the
yeah.
hallway after she thought she got the job, with a woman who very clearly was struggling with her best friend who now gone on to be successful, to her best friend actually, letting everyone in to know who exactly she was and what she did. And that's again, for what Nicole was saying, it really is a part of where the morning show does shine. They are we are a diverse show. It is a diverse show, but it's also inclusive. So how important is it for
Yeah,
you to be asked to come to the party, but then we also have please ask me to dance. Do you know what I mean? Like I want to be able to bring
yeah.
all of myself into this experience. Is that going to be okay? And again, Millicent made that possible for us as actresses, and so we owe her a debt of gratitude.
Thank
And
you.
wait,
I
hold
can't
on.
do it without you guys as actresses.
Before we move
Wait,
on,
but there's
can we
two things.
talk
Wait,
about
there's two
Karen?
things.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Black girl joy. Okay, so you said people were screaming at the camera. I was in the corner screaming, trying to hold my laughter because I was like, oh, we get to show real Black girl joy. And Black girl joy is something that most people don't see except for Black girls. So it was important to show authentic Black girl joy. And then walking down the hallway, Karen knows that I was screaming. We were shooting it in slow motion. I was like, girl, work those hips. And it was important. And I'm glad that you did notice that her stance was different because she was proud. And that it was important that where this woman is proud of every aspect of herself, from her toes to the top of her head, the sway of her hips, everything was about, I am proud of who I am, the way I am. And that was important.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say that whole like the arc with Mia, like, as a fan of the show for years, even before coming on, um, I mean, nothing has been more gratifying than seeing where she is now. You know what I'm saying? Like watching that and then seeing this woman show up in this red dress and the way that Karen was just living in it and making these people eat. Everyone was just like, and Karen knows, I was like, girl, finally. And, we're all like, finally. So I can't wait to see, where it goes from here. But just such beautiful, beautiful, beautiful writing, but beautiful embodiment of it, like such beautiful work. And there were moments, even in that scene that we were talking about in the interview, where she's on the other side of the glass and you can just feel her new presence, the bob, the boom, bam, bam. Um, yeah, it's just spectacular. And also the beautiful work that happened between Mia and Stella this year. Yeah, it was heartbreaking because you both have gotten to this really powerful place and then it kind of just like crumbles.
Yeah, the boo bap bam, that is Black excellence right there.
The boom bap bam.
The boo bap bam is Black excellence, right? Yeah, it was fun. It was very, very Black. It's maybe the blackest Mia has ever been on Apple TV. I'm just maybe one of the blackest moments ever on Apple TV.
Thank you. I love it. You left no crumbs, dear. None.
Hi, sorry about that. This is Nancy Green here. And this episode was actually really interesting to me because I had a situation recently where I was sent some damning information about a celebrity kind of out of the blue from an anonymous source. And, I had no intention of pursuing the story, but I was really curious about the fact that there was no documentation, there was no corroborating information. So I wanted to know from your perspective, how do you feel about this sort of thing? Is it something where um, you would believe it, or would you feel like there's maybe something about this is fake? So I just want your perspective on the fiction and the reality of this type of thing.
Believe what? That this would happen?
Yes, like happen? Yes, that was what I was really curious about because I'm watching it and her story was heartbreaking, but
yeah, it's an amalgamation of a lot of actually true stories. So it can happen and it does happen. There's a lot of reasons why athletes who dedicate, my kids run track, so a lot of reasons why people who dedicate their lives to athletics and something happens, especially women. If you go back to, not saying Allison Felix doped, but you go back to Allison Felix, Nike dropped her when she got pregnant. So there is a history, especially of Black female athletes, and especially in track, who, when they get pregnant, they are told that it's over for you and they lose all their sponsorship, which is all their money, because it's not like the type of money, unless you're, Sydney, it's not the type of money that the NFL, the NBA, those players get. So it is something that they've dedicated their whole life to. And sometimes you do what you have to do to try to stay in the game. And unfortunately, sometimes people make bad decisions.
This is what I'm talking about. You see how she answered that? Like she believes it so passionately. That's why we were good. I love you so much. Thank you, Millicent.
Karen or okay.
Well, no, I just
All
want to
right.
No, no,
second
no.
exactly what
Look,
Millicent said. Yeah.
I agree with Millicent, and yeah, I mean, the great part about the morning show is that we don't try to rip from the headlines, but we do try to speak to culturally what is happening and how it reflects our current humanity. And I think the writers of the morning show, Charlotte, and I think that Vanessa Baden Kelly wrote this episode, an African American
Mhm.
female writer, television writer. They just have their finger on the pulse of what's going on. The fact that it brought out so much in you and you're able to reflect upon it, it's part of what makes the show so important, I think, but also allows us as artists, as artisans, as actors, as directors to engage, to involve ourselves, to do our research. So yeah, I think there's a lot of truth in it, but the truth really, it may not be necessarily it's ripped from the headlines, but that it touches us as human
Mhm.
beings very deeply to see someone go through that.
Bill Monroe. My question is for Millicent. You got your start in music videos, some of my faves, by the way, and you told a story in 3 minutes or less. How do those music video DNA make its roots into the emotions of your direction now?
Well, you saw it in Karen's walk down the hallway. That was slow motion. That was straight out of music videos. So I still slide it in whenever it feels necessary. But honestly, every scene is telling us a full story. So you take every scene and you find the beginning, the middle, and the end, and you find the heart of what is the pulse of the scene, and that's what we play to. So I feel like every day, multiple times a day, in every scene, I'm reliving that experience of how do I tell the story in a very short period of time? How do I sell it? Sometimes it's with big camera movements. In this case, we needed no camera movements. We needed nothing to take away from the excellent performances and the emotion that was in this script. So, my goal was to keep the camera almost unrecognizable in this. It should just melt away into the background because this episode was about these women and their experience. But I'm constantly trying to use everything that I've learned from music videos, just as far as motion and storytelling, to always accentuate. I like to say that I am run by the script. So, and I like to close my eyes and dream. And then it tells me like, okay, well, this is what I'm supposed to do. And I always support character, story, and script with camera and everything.
There's a great musicality to really good writing, really good
Mm-hmm.
filmmaking, cinema. And I just think that Millicent understands that so well, where we need to rest, where we need to pick up the pace, where we need to, you know, allow for a solo or a breakdown, all of those things. I think she has her finger on it. I'm a musician. I know Nicole loves to sing. And the great part about coming from this aspect of understanding music and acting is that they really are. There are times where they just are the
Mm-hmm.
same. We are instruments in this same way, actors and dancers and musicians. I mean, we really are kind of doing the same thing and interpreting it in a different way. And it's a real gift to work with a director like Millicent, who does have her hand in so many different areas of our industry and knows how to help conjugate that story visually for the audience. It's a real gift.
Thank you. It's a gift for me to be able to work with talented actresses who I can vibe with and trust with the emotion and the soul of characters. I mean, that's not a given. You two are
No,
amazingly talented.
well, thanks. I also
You
think
really
that
are.
I don't necessarily think that we highlight enough what a challenge it is to really do a show like this. We work
Mhm.
extraordinarily hard on this show. I mean, super long hours.
Thank you.
And when something like that shines, it's because that person behind it is really adding their own personal flavor to it. And they've also done that work as well. So I wanted to say that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Amazing. Thank you.
Dana Abercrombie, The Coalition. What I loved, obviously, about that scene, that Chris giving her truth, is about how emotional it is. And so, from Miss Shelton, as a director, you talked about finding the emotional beats, but I want to know, how much does that weigh upon how a scene looks?
I think it has a lot of weight on how a scene looks. You know, this scene wasn't about camera moves. It was about feeling the heart and the soul of Chris. And for me, I wanted to get in there and feel her pain and be connected. And the eyes are the window to the soul. So we had to get in her eyes and be close to her. And, you know, Nicole's wonderful. And I just wanted to try to service her as best as I could to make it a safe place where she could trust that she could be free to show that the soft underbelly. And it's not easy to reveal that. And you know, she's not by herself. She's in a room with people with cameras all up in her face. So it's important to create a safe space. And it's not about the camera move. You have to find the heart of what this is about. It's about this woman and her journey, and it was about this performance.
This question is for Karen. The scene, you coming up from the elevator in the background saying, you forgot you were a bad bee, right? How satisfying was it for you to see your character go through that, kind of like being at home watching that episode, the final episode?
Well, satisfying. You know, I think it was fun. There was a whole sort of, let me say this, not often do you get to be on a show long enough for a character to do a 180. Oftentimes your character will just plod along, doing the thing that they always do on the show, or the show will be canceled before you get the chance to do something really juicy and meaty and turn your character around. So this was a real gift that the writers gave me, that the producers sort of thought about. The whole costume was really well thought out. It was a plot point. I mean, the hair was a Black actress's hair is something anyway, but then this became another level of that these moments, the red outfit and the music and everything, that was fun, but really it's all those moments leading up to it and afterwards that you're carving out. Those moments in the car with Chris, the moment where she's playing pool and she says, her white boyfriend says, well, what about your hair? And she's like, don't talk about my hair. What the hell? Do you know? And then when she finally does see Alex, she takes her to task for interfering with her life and thinking that she could do that. Those shaping those moments around it were really so satisfying for me because it helped us to see that Mia really had made that shift. And it's likely that if Alex hadn't done what she did, or if Stella hadn't done what she did, Mia would still be working she would be working either at Defy or still be at UBN toiling away. So, as an actress, you really like all those moments. But yeah, that red suit was a lot of fun. It's fun.
Thank
From
you.
what I hear, it's doing really well for Lafayette 148. Listen, women want that red suit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Karen, Nicole, and Millicent, we want more, and more of all three of you, however we can get it. We, again, have really, really enjoyed you this season. On behalf of the world's largest group of Black film and TV critics, we thank you for your time again, and we thank you for watching this edition of AAFCA Roundtables. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.